All right, welcome to I Am Sure Sports. This is Omar Stennett. This is our live Tuesday edition of the NBA and track and field show. And as usual, we have our in-house, we call him our in-house analyst, sporting guru, pioneer will be joining us to discuss some track and field and some NBA playoff basketball. And so just get ready, stay tuned for that. We begin in a few, and we're hoping that we can also have Chris Lynch joining us later to see how our predictions for the national track and field senior championships and the NBA playoffs are going on. But before we get into all of that, just Yema, let me properly introduce you to the channel right now.
I am sure sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get your sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over air. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here. So, for the day done, you are gonna love over yourself.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crapper players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.
And there you have it. I am sure sports. So please, as soon as you come on, make a comment, subscribe to the channel. And so let me just right now just introduce our special guest this evening. Call him Pioneer. Big basketball guru, knows a lot about the game and also very versed in discussing track and field. So welcome to the show, Pioneer.
Blessed love, my brother. And good to be here once again,
Yeah, man. How you doing? Excited after the national championships or disappointed?
There's a lot of excitement in the national championship. There's some level of disappointment, I must say. But we have good things to look forward to in Tokyo. And we hope for the best from all the athletes that have qualified. Those who didn't rise to the levels of our expectations. We hope that when they are in Tokyo, they will excel beyond how they performed at our national championships and bring the country some glory and some medals.
So who would you say was your biggest disappointment? What was your biggest disappointment or what was your biggest surprise at the championships?
All right, first I'm going to start with the biggest surprise. The biggest surprise of these championships were Shericka Jackson. Shericka Jackson was the big surprise of these championships. I remember on our last podcast when we were on with Coach Minzy and we were discussing Shericka's inclusion into the 1 and the 200 meters. We were saying that Stephen Francis, being the guru and the magician that he is, must have seen something while he was entering Shericka Jackson. But I don't think many of us think that Stephen Francis would have been seeing what was on display. Well, he obviously would have been seeing it, but not many of us expected it. 10.91 in her heat, 10.77 in her semifinal, and 10.82 in the final after getting a bad start, beating the Olympic champion Elaine Thompson here, finishing second to Shelley and Fraser Price. Definitely Shericka Jackson was the surprise of these championships. Disappointment.
Like good surprise.
Well, good surprise.
Yeah.
The disappointments are mainly on the male side. Well, on the female side, small disappointment. Danielle Williams didn't make the team in the 100-meter hurdles. Danielle has been almost a flag bearer over the last couple of seasons. She got a bronze medal in the World Championships. At a point where she was running times that we haven't seen a Jamaican running in many years. I was thinking that with this break, she would have been putting in some work with the COVID break, and would have been seeing her replicating those times, if not getting faster. That didn't happen. She finished fourth in the championship and will miss out on a spot to the Olympic Games. I'm sure she's as disappointed in herself as we are in her. What I'm looking for her, but what I'm looking forward to see from her now is maybe going on the Diamond League circuit, running some races, using that bitter taste of not making the Olympics, to set a mark on the Diamond League stage and get prepared for next year's World Championships.
Yeah.
That was probably the major disappointment on the female side. On the male side, Omar McLeod hitting a hurdle, finishing 8th in the finals, not making the team to Tokyo. He's still the fastest Jamaican, even after the trials. And I know the conversations and the argument will go on as to whether he should be or should not be included in the team. But that was a disappointment. I still think he represents, while it's not leaning one way or the other about him being on the team or not, I still think had he been on the team, he would have been our best prospect for a medal. That was disappointing. Also disappointing was the times being run in the sprints by the gentlemen. None of our athletes broke 10 seconds. Well, Blake broke 10 seconds in the semi-final, but in the finals, nobody went under 10 seconds. Not in the 200 meter.
No,
we didn't have anybody breaking 20 seconds.
And in the 400, and in the 400, no one under 40.
Actually, the person who finished third in the 200 did not make the Olympic qualifying time. We might end up with a situation of having to only send 2 athletes if Julian Ford is not fit. Julian Ford he didn't finish the finals. He's the 3rd Jamaican athlete, or he had the 3rd fastest time as a Jamaican this year, which
meaning he has met the Olympic qualifying time.
It is on the borderline of the Olympic, which is the Olympic standard, which is 20.22. He ran that in the semifinals. However, as we said, only himself and Rashid Douai and Yuan Day.
Could Akeem Bloomfield, if he recovers from his injury, seeing that he has the time, could he be included, or unless he did a medical exemption for the trial? Although he's known to be injured, how would that work?
I think that if he has the qualifying time, the only way we could the exemption could work. And well, if Julian Ford is not healthy,
okay,
then seeing that Ford participated in the trials,
okay,
and he's the 3rd person to meet the qualifying standard, then I guess that will have to be decided by.
Isn't that the same situation for the 400 meter men as well? That yes. The times run there don't meet the Olympic qualification times either. That was
a grave disappointment. I don't know when did we fall off so badly. We are seeing people who are running 45 and sub 45 in school now running 46 and 47 and high 45. We have certainly gone backwards in our 400 meter running. Some work needs to be done there. That was also a very disappointing spot in the trials for me.
Yeah, I agree with you that some of those things were disappointing. I agree with you in terms of the disappointment and the surprises. I would also say that Jail Hyde, 400-meter hurdles was a bit of a surprise for me. I knew he had it in him, but I wasn't expecting such a good performance. And I think, given the kind of person he is, I know right now he's not in medal contention when you look at the time, because the top times in the world are in 47s.
And 46.
And 46, and he did 48. So, but his time though, it is not medal contending time. I think he did well. I think it was one of the better performances. Yeah.
48-1 is what that showed me is that it didn't come as a surprise to me. He's a determined young man. What this shows is that he used the time off to put in work. I would say, unlike a lot of the others and his male counterparts and on the male side of athletics, Jail Hyde has been putting in work. It's obvious. It showed in how he ran the rounds and his progression through the rounds. And that time in the final, basically running alone, basically. He was unchallenged. He didn't have anybody to push him. And he basically went out and did that on his own. It shows that he had put in the work in the preseason, and it has manifested. I think between now running 48-1, I would not rule out Jail Hyde as a medal.
47. Yeah.
I think he will be breaking the 48-second barrier at the Olympics. He has a month. I can see him continuing to put in work. I'm sure he will go back and watch the tape of his 48-1, see where he can improve on his race, and we can look for some good things. While I won't say he's one of the main medal prospects for Tokyo, it would not come as a surprise to me if Jail Hyde broke 47 and medal in Tokyo. Whilst the challenge will be great, because we have people like Warhawk and Rai Benjamin, who seem to be at the top of their game.
Here's the next name. I just got this name, Benjamin Warlum. Dude,
yeah, man. There were quite a number, and if you just need to go back and look at the World Championship last year to see how competitive the male 400-meter hurdles was, and we had a lot of persons running 47 in 2019.
46 in 2019 and 46.
47 and under. Yeah, 46.
Under, yeah.
However, it's a hurdles, and anything can happen. As I said, I am expecting Jail Hyde, being the warrior that he is, to continue to put in work. And for me, it would not, as I said, I don't have him as a top contender for a medal, but it would not come as a surprise to me if he actually did medal in Tokyo. Yeah. It will come as a huge surprise.
I will say that, I mean, and I hear countryman saying earlier that the performance of the male athlete is past disappointment. It's outright pathetic. And I mean, strong word, but it was sad to see the times though. I mean, especially in the sprints, because based on what I saw in the sprints, I don't even have any confidence that we have any male athlete who would make the final of the 100 meters or the 200 meters at this time.
We haven't been making 200-meter finals in our life on the male side in our last. We didn't have a
right,
final.
because Usain Bolt only did the 100 meters at the last World Championship.
We have one in 2019.
Yeah,
so that was disappointment. Disappointing, and it wouldn't come as a surprise to me if, come Tokyo, we did not have contender in the final.
I really don't see us getting any medals on the track on the male side. Not even in the at David Chusser or 4x1 relay to medal.
It's gonna be tough. We have a lot of teams that are coming up. In the 4x1, I see as I said, South Africa won the world relays. South Africa has a very good team. US will be there, of course.
Great Britain.
Canada has a good team.
And Great Britain,
will be contending.
Japan.
Well, Japan.
They're at home, you know. You understand me? That gives them an edge, I believe.
Yeah, and they are the kings of button passing. Whilst I think we should make the finals in the 4x1, I would not be expecting a medal in the 4x1, not based on the times that we saw at our national trials.
Listen, I find it hard to believe. Well, I think if we get to the, like, there was a time when I know that Jamaica would get medal in 4x4. I had more confidence in us getting medals in a 4x4 than a 4x1 because we have always produced good quarter milers, even when our sprinting wasn't good. We have always had good quarter milers. And I'm saying that when you go back to some of the World Junior Championships, yeah, the Martin Manley, Chris Taylor, I mean, we have lost a whole generation of 400-meter runners. Nobody, are these guys late bloomers? Is it that they were overworked at the high school level? What is happening?
It baffles me.
James.
It baffles me. It baffles me at the regression of our quarter milers. We had people who were breaking 44 seconds, and they seem to have. Now they are struggling to run mid 45.
Yeah.
I can think about Javon Francis, Chris Taylor.
You have this guy called Joseph Robinson. You have
we just need to look back.
James, this guy from Stets that did hurdles, 400, 800.
When we're talking about even some of the more recent contenders, you know. When you look at the finals, a lot of the people, all right, our national record holder was in the finals. He finished, I think he ran 46 something to finish about 4th or 5th. It's
Rasheen McDonald.
Rasheen McDonald. I'm searching for some of the names as we speak. But it's disappointing. We have had a rich history in the 400 meter, and it is quite disappointing to see the regression from our quarter milers.
I like what Countryman said, new matriculation. There seems to be a gap between these guys leaving high school and taking on the senior. And my personal opinion, the Pioneer, is that they stay the extra year that they stay in high school, most of them to win championship, kind of slow down their development.
Yeah, but even as I said, it's not just about because some of the all right, we had in 2019 in the last 4 or 5 years, we had maybe 3 or 4 persons running sub 44s.
That was Nathan Allen and Akeem Bloomfield.
And, Nathan Allen and what's the other gentleman?
Akeem Bloomfield.
Yeah, Bloomfield too, but Bloomfield didn't contend it. His name is slipping me right now, man.
When what? In 2000? Not Rasheen McDonald.
Not Rasheen McDonald.
The other guy, from GC Foster.
GC Foster.
Oh geez, I soon tell you his name, but I know you're talking. It's not Levy. It's not Ronald Levy.
No.
Not Douche Carter. I soon get the name, but I know you're talking. Yeah.
It is quite disappointing. It's disappointing. As I said, Jamaica has always had a rich history in the 400 meters, and it is.
Gail, Demish Gail.
Demish Gail is the name we're searching.
There you go. Thank you, Countryman.
Demish Gail is the name we're searching for.
What happened to him?
He was in the finals. He finished, what was it, 2nd or 3rd?
Yeah.
But we're struggling in the quarter mile. We are really struggling in the quarter mile. I don't know what is happening.
But you know the guy who won is Veronica Campbell Brown's brother.
Really? Yeah, it's Veronica's brother. For me, he wasn't even a contender. He was one of the main contenders in our eyes. We're looking for people like Guy and Nathan Allen to come forward. These were gentlemen who were running mid 44 seconds a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that with a year off and an opportunity to train, these are young men. These are not people who are growing up in age. these are younger athletes.
And like Demish Gay never really had a very rigorous high school career. So I'm thinking
No,
that
he's a late bloomer actually. He's one
Exactly.
of those who's a late bloomer. So you'd expect some level of progression, or at least some maintenance, some maintaining of form. I mean, you're running 44 2-3 years ago. Would have been some level of expectations that especially coming off a year where there was no track and field, where you had time to get to get your body, rejuvenated and to be training.
Yeah.
So it's particularly disappointing for me. This is what has happened. I don't know. I think there's something happening on the male side of our track and field. I don't know if it's a lack of commitment. I don't know if it's persons getting sponsorships and falling by the wayside.
You need to fix you need to fix the camera, Pioneer.
And the pageantry that comes with sponsorship money.
You need to fix the camera.
We need. I don't know. There needs to be a serious look taken by the J-Trays and what is happening on the male side of our track and field.
Yeah, man. All right, Pioneer. You need to fix the camera. You're kind of upside down. Yeah. But that is it. I think that's something that we need to look at. Like, how are we developing? Is our high school track and field championships really burning out some of these youngsters, which is preventing them from matriculating, like Countryman commented and said earlier, matriculating to the senior ranks? I think that is something that we really have to look at, because it is sad. I can understand us, being losing a level of dominance in the sprints, and that is because prior to Chris Gayle, we kind of struggled prior to Usain Bolt, we kind of struggled in the sprinting event, but we have always had good representation, in the quarter mile events and stuff. So I am hoping that whatever is missing, that missing link, be found, and that can be dealt with. I don't see any. Even at the recent championships, I saw some young guys from JC, but I didn't see any standout 400-meter runner. Or Antonio Watson look well, but he looks like he's been coached to go down to the 100, 200. Yeah.
I don't think he'll settle at the 100. He said his coach said to him the 200 is the best race. The schedule for the 2 and the 4 was a little tight, so he decided to run the 100 instead of the 400. But I think he's settling for the 200. But I think he's a pretty good 400-meter runner. But Mannings, I don't think it is the youngsters who are the problem. We have had quality youngsters in the 400-meter. We had people like Javan Francis who ran 45 at champs. We have had youngsters breaking 45 seconds whilst they were still in high school. We have people like Chris Taylor who at age 15 was running 45 low. It is the matriculation, as Country has said, and it is. I think that has to do with commitment and training and focus. Which, as I said, something needs to be had on the male side of our track and field.
Yeah, man. Some of the other things for me is I think we're probably going to get Frederick Dacre's May medal. I think we have a couple of good jumpers on the male side and on the female side in the triple jump. So I think I'm looking forward to seeing how Williams does in the triple jump for female, and I think Frederick Dacres could medal in the discus throw. That's what I'm seeing.
I think lots of credit, and lots of credit need to go to the coaches, the field event coaches, and the support being given by the J-Trays to the field events. Jamaica in the past was a predominantly track nation. We are now becoming, a holistic track and field nation, and it is showing both in terms of the male and female field eventers. We're seeing good results, and we're hoping that that continues in Tokyo. Both in the throws and in the jumps.
Yeah. Yeah, so looking for, I think just some other athletes. I think Brianna Williams, I don't want to, as a 90, I think she did well, didn't contest the finals at the 200. I think she qualified for that. It was good to see her in the 100 meter going up against the big girls. She gets some opportunity to be on the relay team. I think that will be good for her because she's part of that future group of ladies that, you know, when I look beyond Usain Bolt a few years ago, it was just you and Blake and not a lot of good quality. We have a Brianna Williams. We saw Kevona Davis making it to both finals. We saw Ashanti Moore making it to both finals. Kemba Nelson as well. And these guys and these ladies are doing very, very, very good time. And if you go beyond that, you have Sabrina Cole, I think her name is Brianna Liston. You have the Tia and Tina Clayton, that twin. So there's a whole crop of female athletes that are coming through the ranks. And so kudos to Kemba, their first major Olympic trials, and they have made the team, though it is the relay, because this has made the pool for the relay better, give Elaine and Shelley and Sharika some good rest.
That will be an interesting thing in Tokyo, Mannings. Our three top sprinters will be contesting both the 100 and the 200.
And the 200 meter finals, yeah.
That will speak to a need for quality replacements in the first round, or alternates in the first round of the 4x1. Luckily for us,
how many changes can you make? Have they changed the rule? Because
I understand that the rules have been changed where you can replace all 4 persons. So you come to 8 persons now. Luckily for us, we have 3 sub-11 runners as alternates. In Kemba Nelson, Brianna Williams, and Natasha Morrison.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see
how we
would fit those for the
Definitely. Listen, here's the good news, Joe Pioneer. Let me share this with you. I think this will be good for us because what will happen is that these 3 ladies, because I think they would make up the preliminary team. These 3 ladies would get enough time to do baton practices. You understand me? Which would almost guarantee us going into the finals where you have your Shelley, Elaine, and Sharika Jackson, and I think the other space goes to Brianna Williams.
And I think even the running order, I think the running order speaks for itself in terms of the finals. If and when we make the finals, the running order speaks for itself. I think for me it has to be Brianna Williams with her quick fire start out of the blocks. In 2019 we saw where Shelley Ann ran the back straight and basically received the baton early in the zone and passed off late. That gave us a huge advantage in 2019. I think that is where we won that race. We ran a very impressive time also. So I think for the Olympic Tokyo, it should be, that at least in my head.
Yeah,
Shelley,
okay.
Shelley, the back straight. Give me a second. Elaine Thompson is a 200 meters runner. She ran the back straight. She ran the curve in 2015, where we set the world championship record, where she handed off to Shelley. So I think that should be her automatic position, running the third leg on the curve. And we saw what Sharika did in 2019, taking the team home. And I'm thinking that with her newfound 10.77 speed, I can't see anybody tracking her down. I don't care who the US has on their ankle leg. With those 3 ladies that I've mentioned before, doing their jobs and handing off to Sharika Jackson, I think we should win the gold medal, 1, and we should be close to breaking the world record. I think the world record should go. I think with good button changes, we should get the world record. As to the first round, what format we'll run the alternates in, will be interesting for me also. I think we should be looking at Natalia White. She was the starter in I know you're gonna tell me about Ramona Birchell, who finished what was it, fifth or sixth in the 100
Yeah, she
meter.
finished 1500 meters, yes.
But for me, I would be looking at Natalia White passing to Kemba Nelson on the backstretch. Or not passing to a Natasha Morris, because I have seen Natasha Morris run good backstretch. She ran one in 2015, where I think she gave some headache to Alison Felix, who's a good backstretch runner also. That's the same championship, not the world championship record team that I spoke about. So for me to be Natalia White to Natasha Morris, to Kemba Nelson on the curve, or we could go Kemba Nelson, Brianna Williams, or Brianna Williams, Kemba Nelson.
I think they're gonna find a way to include Bert. That Bert, if they bring her, she's going to run.
Well, unless we're gonna go we're gonna go 4 changes, and I can't see why we would have Brianna Fresh not participating in an individual event and then not have
well,
her.
somebody well, let me just say I my relay team, I can have my order different. I guess either can work, but I would go how they finished the 100 meters. I would go that way from
You're
fourth.
talking about the preliminary round or the final?
No man, the finals. So fourth place, Brianna finished fourth. I would start with her, to Elaine, to Sharika, to Shelly. And I'm going to tell you, here's my reason for that. I know after the 200 meters there was a show of unity between Shelly and Elaine, but I felt like there was some discontent at the end of the 100 meters, and how I saw Sharika Jackson hugging and embracing Shelly, I think that there's a chemistry there, and I'd rather the button change be between them than Elaine and Shelly. And so
for me, these ladies are professionals. You're doing a job. It really is a team game. The better button passes will result in everybody getting the medal. There will be no distinction in the color of the medals in the relay. So if a gold medal for Jamaica is a gold medal for all individuals on the team. We have heard stories in the past of back in the day, in the 80s and 90s, of persons having issues not wanting to. I think we have passed that. For me, Elena and Shelly are 2 professional athletes, and I can't think that any small differences we might have in the camps or changing of camps that should not affect the relay or one person passing the button to another person in the relay. I can't see that being an issue in 2021.
I hope so.
I spoke to the specific order because one, it would have been legs that would have seen these persons in the past. Elaine, for me, is a natural curve runner. We saw that in 2015. She ran a blistering leg. This was when she was second in the 200 meter to Daphne Skippers. She showed, Sharika Jackson showed that she has great finishing speed as she in 2019. And I'm saying she's a faster athlete now. So I'll be expecting more from her. Shelly showed what she can do as the fastest Jamaican running the backstretch. If you speak to a lot of experts in track and field, they tell you that have your fastest runner run the second leg. It's an opportunity for them to pick up early in the zone. They can run maybe 110 meters or 112 or 13 to 15 meters based on where you pick up in the zone and where you hand off. So that gives us an advantage having our fastest runner running the longest leg.
Yeah, so, listen, I agree with that. My only reason for sharing what I shared was just because of what I saw. But that order
I don't think that should be an issue. Yeah. I think what we need to do, we need to get the button, we need to do some work on the button passes. I'm anticipating maybe. Well, I don't know how the camps, the pre-Olympic camps will be set up. I think with COVID, a lot of things are being altered and a lot of restrictions are being put on teams. I don't know if Jamaica will have a regular pre-Olympic camp that we normally have, and you know, I don't.
Well,
If we
looking
don't,
forward, looking forward to the Olympics, man. Really, looking
definitely,
forward.
we saw the US trials. We had some very interesting results in the US trials. What I was watching I must admit that I watched more of the US trials than I watched of the Jamaican trials. I was glued to the US trials. I watched a lot of the Jamaican trials, but some of it I actually caught on replays on YouTube. But I watched the US trial live for the most part. There were some very interesting results. We saw Shakar Richards in the 100 meter. The verdict is still out on how big a threat she might be to our ladies. We saw Gabby Thomas in the 200 meters running the third fastest time in history, being the second fastest woman. As to whether these performances can be replicated in the Olympics, that's left to be seen. There were some other areas in the US trials that I saw very outstanding and very interesting performances.
The 200-meter male with I think the guy name is Knighton.
Yeah, Knighton as a 17-year-old breaking Usain Bolt. Both under 18 and under 20 records. Looks like one for the future. I'll be watching his progress with interest. I'll be watching him in the Olympics with a keen eye. There were some outstanding performances in the US trials. We saw Sydney McLaughlin in the 400 meters.
Hurdles
for women. Yeah.
Alison Felix in the 400 meter women qualifying again.
Making the 400 meter team. Here's a young lady who I was expecting to run the 400 meter. I think Mo. She ran the 800 meter. Was very impressive in the 800 meter. She ran 1 minute 56. There was just a bunch of impressive.
And the discus record, or was it the shot put record was broken as well at the USA trial.
We have Grant Holloway.
Yeah.
Running going close to the world record.
In the 110 hurdles. Yeah.
In the 110 hurdles.
Well, there were all of these performances was down in Portland.
Right, Benjamin. So, it's Oregon track. I think I am probably the greatest advocate of saying that the Oregon track is a. All right, so let me speak to the factors. The altitude in Oregon at that field, it's high altitude. The track, before they relay the track, because this is a new track that they have here. The stadium has been renovated because I think the World Championship next year will be in that stadium. All right. So the track was. Even before the track was relayed, I have always had my suspicions about times that have been run on that track. We have seen in the past where persons have run quick times on that track and were unable to replicate them or duplicate them elsewhere. All right. So that still stands. However, you still have to kind of allude to the performances for what they are. The Olympics will be now the litmus test as to whether these persons who show these had these impressive performances, if they can go on the Olympic stage now to show that these performances weren't fluke, and it had nothing to do with the track or the altitude that they were running on. So I await Tokyo with great interest.
And what I'll say is it's a difference when you're running with, because let me tell you this, the pressure of for example, and this is just an example that I think people underestimate the kind of pressure. Imagine lining up in a woman's 100 meter. Shakara Richardson, for example. You have Dina Asher-Smith, Blessing Okenbari, Talu, Shelly Ann Fraser, Elaine Thompson, Shericka Jackson, and one other person. Now, that is pressure. That's a different kind of pressure than when you're going into a championship as a favorite, because no one really goes into this Olympic 100-meter woman as a favorite. And I think sometimes that kind of pressure leads to false start, leads to people tightening up, which is one of the things I think affected Asafa Powell. When the field was competitive, I think it affected him mentally. And so he never medaled when many of us had him as, and I'm saying that it takes a lot more mental fortitude to perform when all 7 other athletes in that race are just as fast as you and can beat you on any given day.
We know that some athletes don't deal with the pressure. Well, I'm looking at Elaine Thompson. I don't know if she's injured. I was saying to someone recently that I think I still, all right, Elaine Thompson, and let us get it straight. Elaine Thompson is a double gold medal winner at the Olympics in 2016.
Yep.
All right, I think the 200 meters she came under great pressure, knowing that Skippers had beaten her the year before, and Skippers was one of the main contenders, and Skippers was coming back at her. She maintained her form. But subsequent to 2016, and that was, you could say that was Elaine's breakout year. I think subsequent to that, she's struggling to maintain her composure in big races. When I looked at her, how she looked in the semi-final of the national championships, she ran what, 10:81, 10:82 to beat Shelley in the semi-finals, and then ran 10:84 in the finals. She was tracked down and run past by Shericka Jackson at the finishing, and she lost form. We saw her coming apart, her form coming apart completely. Not only did she just lose form, but basically she came apart completely. So it is left to be seen as to which athletes can maintain composure. We know Shelley is one for the big moments. We know Shelley and Fraser Price is gonna relish the big moments. We can say that with certainty about Shelley. Let's see, in terms of the US athletes, how they deal with that pressure of an Olympic final, knowing that there are other big names, as you just said. Let's see if Sha'Carri Richards can sustain that hype of that she's a part of an Olympic finals, and knowing that there's an Olympic champion in Shelley and Fraser and Elaine Thompson alongside her in the finals of these Olympics. So
yeah, man, the final.
Let's see how those athletes deal with that kind of pressure.
Yeah, the final event we're going to talk about, and then we'll discuss some basketball, is the 400-meter women. Because I had picked McPherson, my girl, and she did win. Many people said it's because Shericka wasn't in the 400, but I am glad.
You got a little low, man. I'm not hearing. I think something was coming in on my phone, and the voice got a little. So I'm not hearing you clearly.
Oh no, man, but I'm clear. So maybe what you have to do is like what you did the first time, which is sign out and sign back in if you're not hearing clearly. Yeah, but I was saying, so if you can do that, you can
come back to the chat room. Let me just
do that. Yeah, and do that. Yeah. So the other person that I really was impressed with was Stephanie and McPherson in the 400 meters. In the 400 meters for women. In fact, all the athletes in the 400 meters, I think, did well. They had personal best all the way down to 6th place, I believe, and that is good. That means we have a very good pool of athletes for the 4x4 relay. I could see McPherson medaling, given that some of the regular contenders, Ebo will not be in there. Shericka Jackson will not be in there. We're not really sure about Nazir, the world champion. So I could see McPherson actually medaling in the 400 meters for women. In fact, that's one of the places I'm looking for Jamaica to spring a surprise. I see us also as silver medalists in the 4x4 women because we have a very good pool of athletes to pull from. You know, Janelle Bloomfield, Tiffany James, good young lady who was at St. Elizabeth Technical, Williams, a few years ago, overseas at college, came in, did well. And so it's a very strong pool to pull from. And looking forward to that. Let me just add back Pioneer to the chat. Yeah, I was just speaking about the 400 meters that we, we have a good pool, and I'm looking at us getting a silver medal.
There was just something very, let me use the word unique about that 400 meters final for women. The top 7
did personal best.
Did personal best, and not just personal best. Some of them did huge personal best.
Yeah.
Persons were running PBs by a second and a half a second. I think that's unique. The reasoning for that, I don't know. Let's just say the ladies have been putting in the work.
Yeah. I was a little bit disappointed in Sherioki Young. Think she would have performed better.
She have had a long season. What you find with a lot of these collegiate athletes is that some of them have been running from as early as January. So and they run at some of these colleges, they run different meets week in. So they travel and run week in, week out. When it comes down to the NCAA's finals, the preparation is intense. So for me, over the years, I've kind of come to expect less from the collegiate athletes. Especially those who do like the 400. And the 400 meter in itself is grueling. So to have them doing, running that often in such a grueling event. You have people like Kemba Nelson who managed to stay somewhat fresh. But I was not expecting, to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting much from Cherokee. Not coming off the season that she has had.
Janelle Bloomfield also did well, Tiffany James. But some of the regular 400 person who we are used to seeing were not there. We didn't see Christine Day, for example.
Christine Day went out in the first round.
Right.
She went out early in the rounds.
Right. You have also a former Homewood athlete, lawyer. Oh geez, I just had her name, normally part of the 4x4 team.
What is good though? What is good? We saw some of the younger
athletes coming through.
Speaking about collegiate, we saw people like Stacey Ann Williams.
Stacey Ann Williams, right, as a young athlete.
Formerly of States, champ star too. Ran on that big 4x4 team with Janelle Bloomfield. We saw her. She had a grueling collegiate season, and she came to a trial. She represented well. So I think it's a changing of the guard. There's somewhat of a changing of the guard in the 400 meter for women. It is good to see the youngsters. It's good to see the youngsters coming up.
Stepping up, yeah.
It's just, as I say, it's just kind of, I'd say a shame that we can't have the same thing on the male side. But it's good to see the young ladies stepping up to the plate. And as I said, for the top 7, to have run personal best in that race, it's something special.
Yeah, and Sam, I think that we're going. I think that we could medal. I think that possibility exists that we could medal.
Possibility exists. McLeod, breaking 50 seconds. That was also good in winning the silver medal. I think the field in the 400 meter this year has been weakened by the exclusion of Shawnee Miller. We haven't seen a lot of Nasir this year, so we don't know what form she's in.
Isn't she serving a suspension, or it has been lifted?
I understand that she has won her appeal, so we should be seeing her at the Olympics. But as to what form she will be in, That's a question that is left to be answered. Alison Felix, and I put it this way, I haven't seen anything scary in the 400 meters for women coming out of the American trials. Felix is on her way back. I expect her to perform well. I mean, she's coming back. She has been on the improve. So I'm thinking by Tokyo she should be. She didn't
Yeah.
break 50 seconds at the US trials. I'm thinking that she should be able to do that. But as to how far along she'll be, that's left to be seen. But the possibility exists that we could get a medal in the 400 meter for women.
No, and
What I-
that's Leroy is the athlete's name. Anastasia Leroy.
I know what you're talking about, Anastasia Leroy. She has been around for a while now. She has been maybe not one of our main contenders, but she has always been dear about always being a part of the 4x4 pool.
All
Whether
over.
running in the prelim or running in the finals, but she has been dear about. I think she has done her time. For me, she has done well for Jamaica. I think, as I say, I think it's time for the changing of the guard. We see these young ladies coming through. Whilst I won't stick my neck out to say that we will medal in the individual 400 meter, but I'm definitely expecting us to be one of the contenders in the 4x4 as we normal as per usual.
I tell you this, McPherson is going to medal. I'm telling you.
Let's see. Let's hope.
Yeah.
She has won medals in major championships before, and
Okay.
she's a perennial person who have always made the finals. So I think it might just be her time with
So many persons not been in there. There you go.
with Shericka Jackson stepping down and the exclusion of some of the big names. It could be her time. She could be in medal contention. Let's see how she progresses from between now and Tokyo.
Yeah, man. All right, people, that is almost the first hour gone. And so we're going to spend the rest of our time, not long, discussing some NBA basketball. As from my estimation, by Friday, we'll know the two NBA finalists. I kind of know who they are already, but I will allow Pioneer to go first. But I think we know who my picks are. And I mean, these series are going to end 4-2. 4-2, no game 7, but go ahead, Pioneer.
That's a both series will end 4-2.
4-2. But let me hear you. You go ahead, give me your thoughts.
All right, I'm expecting the Bucks to go 3-1 up tonight. I don't see Atlanta winning another game in the series.
Okay, cool.
So
That could work.
I'm expecting the Bucks to be in the final. Trae Young is injured. I don't know. I heard it was a game time decision for tonight. The game should be just about starting in a little while from now. The other series now, the Phoenix and Clippers series. I think we're right off the Los Angeles Clippers at our own peril. Last night's game was an indication of that. A lot of persons thought the Clippers were done. They were playing in Phoenix. They had suffered somewhat of I won't use the word humiliating, but it was a bad loss. A couple of mistakes were made at the end of game 4. And they went down 3-1 the series. But like they have shown throughout this postseason, they rose to the occasion again. Paul George was special last night. I will not be one to write off the LA Clippers. At the beginning of this series, I said it was going 7 games. And I had Clippers in 7. All right. I had prefaced that by saying that if Kawhi came back, I would say Clippers in 7. But if it didn't come back, I would say Phoenix in 7. Now it has become apparent that Kawhi won't be back for this series, maybe not be back for the rest of the season, even if the Clippers were to make the finals. I am not ready to write off the Clippers just yet. I am gonna do a little adjustment under my prediction. I will now say even without Kawhi, I'm saying Clippers in 7. They are heading home for Game 6. I'm expecting the Clippers to win Game 6 on their home court. And Game 7 will be a toss-up. I think the Clippers are going to pull this one out. I won't write off Phoenix. I'm expecting a Game 7. And I'm thinking that it will be a 50-50 shot for the teams to win Game 7. But I'm giving Clippers a slight edge. So let me adjust that to a 51-49 edge to the Clippers for Game 7. But I'm definitely expecting a Game 7. I will not write off the LA Clippers, not based on Tylo being their coach, as being the only coach to have a 3-1 comeback in the NBA Finals. Not based on the 2 previous series that they had where they were down 2-0 in those 2 series. Came back to win the first series in 7 games. Had a gentleman sweep against, you could say a gentleman sweep, winning 4 games straight against my Utah Jazz team that I had picked to win the West. We would write off the LA Clippers at our own peril, as I said.
All right, so here's my thing. I expected the Clippers to win Game 5 for a couple of reasons. One, having been humiliated on their home court, the way they were, they had to rebound.
Okay.
The 2 games, that game and the game before, Paul George made serious mistake.
No, it wasn't the game before. It was game
Right.
3. It was game
Right.
No,
So a couple of
game 2.
A couple of games where he missed the 2 free
They
throws.
missed 2 free throws, yeah.
Not game 2. It wasn't game 2.
Yeah, man,
It was game 3. It must be game 3. Game 3, man.
No, remember they won Game 3. Remember they won Game 3.
They won game.
Yeah, man. Remember they won.
Right, yeah, right. So game 2, right?
Game 2 that he missed the 2 free throws at the end of the
Right.
game.
So the thing is that he had to rebound because so much of that loss, or the loss of the series, would be on him. And I think the way they lost game 4
Yeah.
really shook them up. All right? And so they had to rebound. I think Zubac not playing and Cousins, who I think is a better passer, probably more respect is shown to him. I think though he had limited minutes, he had a very important role to play. The thing though is that for the LA Clippers to win without Kawhi, Paul George has to be consistently special.
Okay.
And I don't trust him to be. Like Beverly is not going to beat Phoenix. Reggie Jackson is not going to beat Phoenix. It will have to be Paul George. And I don't trust him to be consistent enough to be special in 3-4 games in a series. So I think
Let me say this about Beverly. Beverly has a role to play in this series. He has been playing that role. He has been disruptive to both Devin Booker.
Yes, it seems like we lost Pioneer again. Yes, so I am going 4-2 Phoenix, 4-2 Milwaukee Bucks. And that's your NBA final. All right. Yeah, all right. So let me just add back Pioneer. Yes, Pioneer, go ahead.
All right. So Beverly has been very disruptive to both Paul George and not Paul George, to both Chris
Booker.
Paul and Booker. He has been playing his role quite well. My apologies. Reggie Jackson for me has been the most consistent player on the Clippers throughout these playoffs. He has hit big shot after big shot. He has been one of the playmakers for them. He has been a model of consistency, if you ask me. I am very impressed with Reggie Jackson. I think he has revived his NBA career. And will continue. I'm expecting nothing less from Reggie Jackson in these playoffs. He is rising like a phoenix for me. We will agree with you, Mannings, is that Paul George needs to have.
Yeah. Again, we have lost Pioneer. So, yeah. But those are my predictions. What are your thoughts? Who is going to be the NBA Finals? But that's how I see it. I think Chris Paul definitely is going to stamp his class on this game. Chris Paul wants to win an NBA title, and he sees this as his best shot, and so I think he's going to stand tall in the next game. Yeah, I can't see LA defeating Phoenix 3 games in a row. That's what it's going to take.
Boy, it's a toss up. I think the depth. I think in terms of the depth of the squad, LA has an advantage with the depth of their squad. To have somebody like Boogie Cousins coming off the bench, to replace Zubac, it speaks volume. To have somebody like Rajon Rondo who can't get minutes in a series like this speaks volume to the depth of the LA Clippers team. I am not yet done with the Clippers. I think that the Clippers has something. They have been the most resilient team in these playoffs. And as I said, we would rather have the Clippers at our home. The series
it doesn't matter right enough, and I just think like Chris Paul has so much, like he has not played well since he has come back from the COVID.
True.
Right. And I just think like he's going to find the result in one of these games. And that's all.
We could see Chris Paul having a good game and Phoenix still losing during the minutes. I think so, what is required for Phoenix to win would be both Chris Paul and Devin Booker having great games on the same night.
And that is my point. If Chris Paul has a good game, Booker plays well. I think Booker struggles because Chris Paul is struggling. Because Chris Paul not making his shots, he's not creating enough. And
but I think I understand what is happening. I understand, and this is the genius at Ty Lue here at work. Ty Lue realizes that he has to disrupt. He has to consistently disrupt the flow of Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Chris Paul has this little elbow shot that he loves. They are not allowing him to get to his spot. They have not, since he has been back, they have not allowed him to get to that spot. Whenever he gets the ball, he's hounded. His passes and his entire playmaking role, he's being rushed. All right, and as a result of that, he's not being as effective as we are used to Chris Paul doing. I think this is where Ty Lue realized that, listen, in order to get to this Phoenix team, we have to get to the engine. Chris Paul is the engine of the team. Sometimes the duties are passed on to Devin Booker. So I think the Clippers have done in the last, and we saw it even in game 4 that Phoenix won. It was you could not say Phoenix had a great game. Both Chris Paul and Devin Booker had awful games in game 4, even though the Clippers choked it up and gave away the game. But whatever Ty Lue has been doing, and he has been using Beverly, as I said, as a disruptor, to a lesser extent, Terrence Mann, to disrupt both Chris Paul and Devin Booker, and it has been working in this series. I'm looking for it to continue. As to whether one or both of these gentlemen can have a good game, I think it will require both to have a good game on the same night for Phoenix to win this series. Going back home, I'm looking for, and I will agree with you that Paul George needs to show consistency in the series. He needs to show that, listen, I had a 41-point game in game 5. I'm going to come out in game 6. I'm going to be just as efficient as I was, and I'm going to put, if not 40 points, maybe 35 points, and be efficient, playing on both ends, and coming up big for his team when it matters. That might be required. This is a test. He's on the ultimate stage now to show he has been given superstar status in the league. He's unsure now, and I think game 6 and game 7 will be where Paul George has a chance to be all that we have thought he could have been over the years, from his time at Indiana to Oklahoma City and now being at the Clippers. He has a chance now to show what he can be and be that superstar that he has been designated.
I don't know if I don't know if he's a super, like in my eyes, he's part of the second tier of players in the league. I mean, like I don't see him as, I see the superstars as the franchise shaping players. Like I see LeBron and KD and James Harden and Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry,
Yeah.
Damian Lillard. Like I don't see Paul George in that group.
Yeah, but here is his opportunity, man. So all right, you could say at his time at Indiana, they struggled to get past LeBron. And they were in some very grueling series with LeBron at his time while he was in Indiana. And there were nights when he got, if not the better of LeBron, but he was as good in those series as he could be against LeBron. All right, and both ends of the court. He hasn't lost his talent. Obviously, he has not lost his game. He showed in spurts. He shows his capabilities.
He has not been throughout his career, even in Indiana. I just think he will give you 2 good games out of 5. And I'm saying that to win, you need 4 good games out of 5. Because there's no Kawhi. If there was a Kawhi, you could be afforded 2 good games. Without Kawhi, you don't have that leverage.
The mantle has been handed back to him. No, man. You have to understand that.
Right.
With Kawhi, he was Batman to Kawhi's. He was Robin to Kawhi's Batman. No, similar to the role that he had in Indiana. The mantle has been handed to him. You need to do it. However, I think here he has a very, very, very good supporting cast to do it. His good friend and a person who he encouraged Reggie Jackson to come back in the league and took him to the Clippers. Reggie Jackson has been putting up his hand in support. Reggie Jackson has done what he needed to do. The supporting cast around Paul George right now has been playing at a high level. Morris, everybody has been putting in their part. Here is an opportunity for him to take that next step, taking your team to the finals.
We'll
and
see.
I think, let's see what happens. You are down 3-2. You're going back home for game 6. What is required is 1 good game at home. I am expecting, this is Paul George, for me, this is Paul George's moment. And I'm expecting him to rise to the occasion with the help of his supporting cast and Tyler.
Man, I find it hard to see. Very rarely do you see a team, like I said, winning 3 games in a row, which is what it would take.
They won 4 in a row. They won 4 in a row against Utah.
No, this is the conference final. Has that ever happened in the conference? When was the last time that happened in a conference final?
Golden State against against the Thunders.
Right, against the Thunders, right.
Yeah.
That's it. These things really happen. I mean, it is possible, but it really happened. It's a possibility.
That was a very good Oklahoma City Thunders team with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook.
A very young team. I always tell people that.
No, man, not young man. It was a young team.
It was a young team. Come on, man.
No. That was a year before Kevin Durant left out.
They were a young team still. They have not.
Who were the young players?
They had.
Who were the young players on the team?
All of those guys.
No, Brethren. KD was in his. What was that? Year 7 or year 8 in the league?
Hold on. No, man. Listen. All right.
We're talking about 2016 here now.
All right.
We're talking about 2016 in the Brethren.
I'm talking about the year, and after that, it was when KD left and went to Golden State.
There were no young players. There was Robertson, there was Steven Adams, there was Westbrook, who had been in the league for some time.
Serge Ibaka.
That was a veteran team. That was the young team.
Man, you can't call. Have they ever? Listen.
Hold on. Right, look at this one. Serge Ibaka, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant played in the finals in 2010 against Miami Heat. We are talking about.
Let me say, they weren't a young team. All right.
We're talking about 3 players.
Inexperienced team.
No, man, not inexperienced. You're talking about players who were in the year. Everybody on that team was in the league for more than 5 years. Kevin Durant, I think that was year 7 or 8 for Kevin Durant. That was probably year.
Reggie Jackson was also part of that.
No, Reggie Jackson was not part of that Thunders team. It was Robertson and Steven Adams. The 5 was Steven Adams, Robertson, Westbrook, KD, and Serge Ibaka. That was a veteran team. And they had no injury. I mean, mind you, that was Golden State in the heydays. That was Klay Thompson at his finest.
Listen, I don't think
Green,
I personally think the best OKC team was the team that went to the finals and lost to Cleveland.
That was a young team. That team was that lost to Miami.
I rate that team, yeah. I rate that team more than the team that Golden State defeated.
With Reggie Jackson and James Harden on the bench. That was a young team.
And Sefolosha.
Yeah, that was a young team. But as I said, with 3-1 comebacks are not. For the finals, when Cleveland did it, it was uncommon. But 3-1 comebacks have been happening.
Listen, if Kawhi were there, I can't see Chris Paul being the kind of personality that he is. Leading by 3-1 and let a team come beat him 4-3.
You know, funnily enough, man, is I have a thing, I was making this joke at the beginning of this series. I was saying Chris Paul for me is what I call the most unlucky player in the league.
Yeah.
Maybe probably in the history of the league. And I was saying the Clippers, been in the league for 40 years, never get into a conference finals is probably and having good teams, are teams that you would expect to contend. So I said Chris Paul was the saltiest player in the league, and the Clippers was the saltiest team in the league. And I was joking that the saltiest player will be coming up against the saltiest team. Who will prevail? True to form, in terms of saltiness, Chris Paul missed the first 2 games of the series. Without him, his teams won those 2 games. And since he has been back, his team he hasn't had a good game.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like the COVID is having an effect on his play. And I see that with many players. No, man, but most of the players, seriously,
he was great in the net. He was great in the round before in the man.
No, man, but he didn't have COVID. Remember, he just went up because of COVID protocol recently.
You mean.
Yeah.
It's not like he was sick. We understand that he probably tested positive, but we don't have any reports of him actually being.
No, you don't know what the symptoms are. You don't want to come out and say he's having major. My point though is that most of the players who throughout the league who have had COVID, normally you hear people saying you can see that the player has been affected. Maybe it makes them I don't know, physical in terms of how the body may feel because it takes a toll on the physical. I don't know, but I just have this confidence.
Maybe it affects them mentally. I don't know. We have heard of affecting persons mentally.
Yeah, but I think he has too strong a resolve to allow. And again, this Paul George guy reminds me of Chris Middleton. Like they are very good players, but you can't trust them.
Chris Middleton has had. I think this year Chris Middleton has been more consistent. While he hasn't been, I would say, a mud love consistency.
But that is the thing.
He has had a couple of bad games this year, but he has been more consistent in this playoff run than he has been in previous years. This could be, and similar to what I'm saying about Paul George, this could be Middleton's time to rise. These players, and this is where players elevate. You say you don't have Paul George as a superstar. He has been designated a superstar, but you have him as a star in the league. This is where players. This is, and I guess you'd say the same thing about Middleton. But these are the opportunities. I don't
see Middleton as a superstar.
But here are the opportunities now, man, that allows that are gifted to players to ascend from stardom to superstardom. Here is Middleton's chance now to close out the series, continue to play well. He has been playing well in this series. Continue to play well in this series, and take his team to the finals, and probably rise in the final, and then you will have to be designated. Superstar.
I think because my whole evaluation of a superstar is, could I bring Middleton to a team and he become the franchise player, because that's, if you can't do that, you're not a superstar. You are a star, a legitimate star. Damian Lillard is a superstar. You move him to any team in the league right now, he can become the face of your franchise, attract people.
Yeah,
Teams
but
change.
all right. So I'm saying to you now,
Yeah.
Middleton now has his opportunity. The fact that what exists now, the reality of his situation is that he's playing alongside Giannis, and Giannis is the superstar in his team.
Exactly. There we go.
However, Mannings, we have had for me, Klay Thompson is a superstar. But
Exactly, because he could go to a different team, pioneer, and become that face.
So I'm saying to you,
that.
I'm saying to you now, Mannings, that this is Middleton's opportunity to show.
Okay. True.
And it is Paul George has been gifted that opportunity again. He was at Indiana. He rose to the occasion on many occasions, but you could argue that he kept running into the stumbling block of having to face LeBron James in the conference finals or in the conference semifinals.
Yeah.
All right. Now he has no such stumbling block in his way. He has Chris Paul and Devin Booker on the other end. But for me, he has the better supporting cast. He has a very good coach. He has the slightly better coaching of the series. So he has an opportunity again now to show that he can rise. This is his moment to ascend. And as I said,
if he indeed, where I will agree with you is that if he indeed can bring them past the Phoenix Suns and lift the NBA championship without Kawhi, of course that's an elevated status.
I think even taking them to the finals and performing creditably in the finals would raise his profile.
Listen, and here's why I say that, because
especially being 3-1 down.
Fine.
To a very good Phoenix team, if you were to help his team to get through this series.
Because anything less than that, everybody goes back to game 2. That's the thing. In other words, the only way you get over this misery of game 2 is if you go to the
game 2 and 4.
Exactly. Yeah. That is the thing. That's a cloud over him.
Winning heals a lot of wounds, man.
Exactly.
I think this is where he needs now to sit and do his introspection and know that what you and I are saying on this podcast now, he needs to be saying to himself. And listen, I need to rise to the occasion. I have the opportunity now to rise to the occasion. Lead the Clippers. He has assisted in leading. Because you could say he has led, because the last 2 games against Utah, Kawhi didn't play. So he has led the Clippers to their first conference final. And now he has an opportunity to lead them to their first finals. Yeah. And as I said, doing that, coming back from 3-1 will definitely raise his profile in the NBA. The only thing additionally to that, what you need to do is not flopping at the finals. Perform creditably in the finals. Even if you were to lose to the Bucks, if the Bucks made the final, then creditable performances from him would raise his profile. You would have gone to the finals, and you would have led a franchise to the finals for the first time in their history. Yeah. So all that would be required from there would be just some creditable performance. Even if his team were to lose the finals, then his profile in the NBA would definitely have risen.
And I think, and I just think in terms of the game, because I'm almost certain that Milwaukee is going to be there, and I'm trying to think what would provide the best NBA final. Who coming out of the West would provide the best matchup and games? Probably 7 games, all close games.
I think either of the 2 teams in the West coming out would provide a good matchup for.
I feel like the Clippers would be, but I don't see them coming through because I think they have more persons who can. Because Giannis is such a he doesn't shoot well on the outside, but he's a very difficult player because your center can't mark him, and very few of the power forwards have the kind of agility, the size, the length to match up with him. So who really marks him? Maybe
you're thinking that Ayton would do a better job against him.
Yeah, and right, because
probably Ayton would have to contend with Brook Lopez.
There you go. But on the Clippers side, I could see them using geez,
Morris,
no, French guy,
Batum,
Nicholas
Batum.
Batum, because he's very tall, have the length kind of a
Yeah,
thing.
man,
and-
I think
Yeah.
the Clippers would present a better matchup for the.
I bet that's what I think. I
the
think
Bucks,
they'll because I don't see Aiton being able to manage Brook Lopez and Giannis in the paint.
But as I said, Mannings, don't write off the Clippers just yet.
All right.
I am expecting something special tomorrow. And then for me, game 7 is a lottery, as they say. Look for it to be a dog fight. It's who's gonna if it gets to a game 7, it is who can hold their nerves and who wants it more.
Yeah, man. All right. What I want to say in closing, Pioneer, because I know the game starts shortly. Probably going on right now.
Just a little flick to the Olympics. Looking forward to the Olympics. I wish I could fast forward the hands at the calendar, at the clock, and start the Olympics next week. Looking forward to some very interesting performances in the 100 meter and 200 meter. I think that for me, the 200 meters is gonna be everybody. We were all saying before that the 100 meter for women was the race to see in Tokyo. I think based on the US trials and our trials, that has been shifted to 200 meter being the race to see in Tokyo for women.
The 200 meter,
200 meter.
not the 100.
Look at this line. Shanae Miller-Weber. We know what she brings. She's a 21 runner. She hasn't broken 2022. But Shanae Miller at her best is a 21-7 runner. And I'm thinking that it's possible for her to go 21-6. She has everything. She has the speed. She has. I'm thinking. For me, if she's in any semblance of good form, for me she'd be the favorite. All right. So Shanae Miller-Weber, Dina Asher-Smith, the world champion, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, Shericka Jackson, who just ran 21.8. Gabby Thomas, who is now the second fastest woman in history, and Elaine Thompson-Herah, the Olympic champion. Throwing anybody else you want to throw into that. Throwing Daphne Skippers if she has regained any form. Throwing Talu. But that is just one cracking race, man. And for me, that is a more impressive lineup than anything you can put together in the 100.
Really?
Even when you put in the 3 Jamaican, Sha'Carri Richardson. Dina Asher-Smith is a better 200 meter runner than she's a 100 meter sprinter. Talu and Blessing Okobari for me will be. They're always going to be chasing Shelly. So I'm not expecting any of those. But of the ladies that I just mentioned for the 200 meter, I could see anybody winning that 200 meter.
All right, Sha'Carri Richardson. All right, Sha'Carri Richardson, just doing the 100 meters, right?
She's only doing the 100 meters. She didn't run. Add to that, Jenna Prendini, who ran 21.8 at the US trials also.
So here's the thing. I don't have Shelly. I think if there's any struggle Shelly is going to have is medaling in the 200. I wouldn't put it past her, but she could get a bronze. I'll give you a stat, man. I'll give you a stat. Yeah.
Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce has contested the 200 meter at 2 major championships before. No. She was a silver medal winner in a stacked field in 2012. A field that included Carmelita Jeter, Veronica Campbell-Brown, Sanya Richards as a 400 meter runner who was running some very good 200 that year, Allyson Felix. That was a stacked 200 meter field, and she came out with a silver medal in that. The following year in 2013, in Moscow, she was also lined up against a very good field, which included Jetta also and Talu and Ohori, Blessing Okobari. She won that in Moscow. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce has the heart of a champion. A lot of people discount her in the 200 meter. Some people try to reduce her status as a sprinter because they said she was not a very good 200 meter runner. What they held against her was her not breaking 22 seconds. She did that now. She ran 21.79, which is no joke time. All right. I will say this. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce will definitely medal in the 200 meter.
Okay.
The person I see beating her would be Shawnee Miller-Weber. And if she's going to be beaten by anybody else for me, it is going to be Shericka Jackson. I don't see anybody else beating Shelly-Ann Fraser. For me, Dina Asha-Smith will not beat Shelly in the 200 meters. Elaine Thompson will not beat Shelly in the 200 meters. I don't know if Gabby Thomas can replicate what she did in the US trials. That's left to be seen for me. She'll have to show me that in the rounds. I don't expect Jenna Prandini to beat Shelly. The two persons that I give the best shot to beat Shelly in the 200 meters would be Shawnee Miller and Shericka Jackson. Both quarter milers actually, who have great speed. And that is what will be required to catch Shelly after she come off of the curve and beat her down the home stretch. At worst for me, you said you probably see her with the possibility of getting a bronze medal. For me, at worst, she'll have a bronze medal in Tokyo. But I can see her winning the gold and getting a silver medal. But for me, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce will definitely medal if she contests the 200 meter in Tokyo.
All right. So barring my race that I think will be the biggest, and here's the final, the list of the finalists I have. This is the 100 meters, because I think we're gonna have at least two persons doing 10.6 in the 100 meters, and then the others are 10.7. It's gonna be the fastest 100 meters in terms of all the persons in it, in the history of championships, Olympics.
Go ahead, give me a lineup.
So here's my final. All right, Shakara Richardson.
Okay.
Asha Smith.
Not a one. All right. Let's talk. Every time you mention a name, all right. So you mention a. So I'm gonna for someone
100 meters. 100 meters. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Excuse me. All right. Asha Smith has never broken 10.8. Her personal best is 10.83.
Yeah, man. So fine, I'm giving her my 8, for the finals.
Better 200 meter sprinter than 100 meter sprinter. Go ahead.
All right. So you have Talu going to be in there. That's 3.
Never broken 10. Never broken 10.8 either.
Fine. Blessing Okonbari.
Okay.
All right.
Verdict is still out on her time that she ran in Nigeria.
Fine. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce.
Yeah.
Elaine Thompson. Shericka Jackson. And I don't know who the 8th person will be. But those 7 I believe, I think everyone going to be 10.8 and below, between 10.8 and 10.6.
Shelly gets the start on everybody with Talu. Shelly and Talu will be out. Nobody catches Shelly after 60. Anybody don't catch Shelly at 70 or 80, the race is over. The only person I give a chance to catch Shelly in that 100 meter again would be Shericka Jackson. Shelly wins that race. I don't know how. I'm still left to see what Shakara Richardson can do with her great top end speed on that big stage, facing this kind of competition. Let's see. That it is her opportunity to prove. But for me, competitive race, good lineup. But for me, the 200 meter trumps.
All right. Hey,
200 meter being a longer race, with more variables in the race, and far greater possibilities in the race. And a person like Adina Asha-Smith, even though we expect her to be in the 100 meter finals, is a better 200 meter runner than a 100 meter runner. I think Ilian Thompson stands a better chance in the 200 meters than in the 100. So that means she's going to be a contender in the 200 meter. So, as I said, the 6 ladies I named in the 200 meter, for me, are legitimate contenders to win the gold medal. All 6. Of the person that you named in the 100, I'm not expecting Blessing Okabari to win. I'm not expecting Talu to win. And I don't think Ilian can win that 100 meter.
No, man.
So
No, man. My winner for the 100 is Shelly. I don't have anybody else but Shelly.
Why I said the 200 meter will be a more riveting, a more interesting race is because of the 6 persons I named, I think all 6 have legitimate shots at winning the race.
All right.
Even though, like I said, I am expecting Shelly to medal, possibly win. And the 2 persons I give the best chance to beat. The best chance to beat Shelly is Miller Weber and Shericka Jackson. But what if Gabby Thomas can come and replicate 20.61, 22.61? If she can replicate that, then she wins.
22.
22.61. No, 21.61.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
21.61. If she replicates that in the final, I can't see anybody going down there. But if she can replicate that in Tokyo, then for me she can win the race. Yeah. Ilian is at her best. It's 21.66. If she runs that, she wins. I'm expecting Dina Asha Smith did a lot of work in the off season and in the COVID time. I think that benefits her more in her 200 meter than in the 100 meters. She ran 21.8, I think, in to win in Doha at the World Championships. I'm expecting her to lower that time, and if she runs 21.6, she can win. Shauna Miller for me, Shauna Miller for me has the greatest chance to break Flojo's 200 meter record. If she hits it on a day, I think she can break that record. Or she can go, for me, the person who can go the closest. So, as I said, 6 after 6 ladies are named for the 200. All 6 are major contenders.
Yeah. All right. So there you have it, people. The NBA Track and Field Show. We have come to the end of the show. Let me just give you right now. The game is going on, and Trae Young is not playing. The Hawks are up in the second quarter, 33-25. That's the score right now. The Hawks versus the Bucks. Second quarter just got going. Trae Young is out of the game. Didn't start, won't be playing, suffering an injury and things. So, but again, thank you, Pioneer, for joining for the show. Very good show. Remember, people, if you have not, please subscribe to the channel, like, share. You can still leave your comment and we'll read them on our next feed. Listen, stay safe, be wise. You understand me? Based on your past experience, your present circumstances, the future expectation, always ask yourself, what is the wisest thing to do? All right? Always do what is the wisest thing to do based on those 3 things. Because sometimes things are right to do, but they are not wise to do. So stay safe and be blessed. Pioneer, thank you so much again for joining, my friend.
And we'll speak again after the conference finals are over. And we'll definitely speak again before Tokyo comes around.
Yeah, man. All right. Blessings, Mr. Porter, just joining the stream. Blessing, Pioneer. Blessing to Countryman and all the other persons who watch, all the persons who were viewing, all the persons who supporting the work. Really appreciate your work. This was not our football show. This was our NBA and track and field show. We have our cricket show coming up tomorrow, and we will have before the week is end, tomorrow or Thursday, we're going to have Clive Giardini on, and we're going to discuss some football. So we'll give you a heads up so you can join us for that live feed. Speaking to Clive Giardini this week, amen. So stay tuned, be blessed, and stay safe. I am Sure Sports. We're out, no doubt.
I am Sure Sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is Righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get your sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know the game play, that me not say it. If me never seen a game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you a go love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.